two doors like this, and then I have my affirmations in between. So on my way to the bathroom every day, I make sure that
then he has to start identifying what and
direct your energy. Well, the problem with that is,
yeah, almost becomes automatic.
just keep me there and increase balance.
wait, we're supposed to be howl at it.
Alright.
Looking around the room, and it seems like we're like
You guys all looking right? So there you go.
That's why I picked up the apple first.
you can't just freeze.
See, that's what I'm looking for.
Focus on the focus.
Staring at a doorknob. He's like, do something that has just stare at this cup and see everything in the room. Staring at that cup. Even though you know you're not getting anything, like, that's tangible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a muscle.
Yeah.
So, practice meditation.
Those little tiny wins, like, okay, so I'll use an example. We just launched a new company. So it'd be uncommon 1%. Then I'd go to my next page, and then I'd build out a timeline for myself. I'm like, okay. And then what this does is it keeps me focused, so when dream killers come up, it doesn't, because if you just go into it, you're like, here's my goal. You kind of just walk into it, you don't know what the resources are, you don't know what the timeline is, you're very easily going to be derailed, right? So what I always do is I come in here and say, okay, I'm going to set my timeline. So first week, so my goal to accomplish it was to launch on October 1st. We beat our deadline, we're launching on September 27th. So like week 1 was straw man. I'd have the straw man built out. So what that represented for me is having it on a straw man, a PowerPoint. Week 2, I need to start filming videos. And so I put this in, I should show you guys a picture of it, but in my house, I use these big sticky, what are they called? The big Post-its.
Like Post-its,
like,
but they're big ones
that
stick on a wall.
It works really well for me, so I actually put them all on my wall. And as I accomplish things, I check it off. And so before I go to bed, I look at the sticky note, and I'm like, it feels so good to check things off. It's psychology, it really helps your brain. Okay, so if you struggle going through this now, people had some great questions around more, I don't know if the word's esoteric, like if it's not a tangible thing, like I'm going to make this book, right? That's a tangible thing. By this date, I'm gonna have this book. Well, if it's something like, I wanna be financially free, or something more, what was the word esoteric? Something not tangible, right? Well, intangible, yeah. So you can still go through the goals, right? It would be, okay, week 1, I'm gonna start to change my mindset. Week 2, I'm gonna start to do my affirmations, right? So there's always something you can do. All this is doing is helping you set a timeline, set a structure for your goal. Resources, for example, when we went into Uncommon 1%, I was like, okay, I'm now doing B2B consulting, business to business consulting. It's very different from business to consumer consulting, right? It's a different, there's different aspects to it, there's different functionalities for the business, things like that. And so we brought on our marketing team as part of the resource, right? So what are some things I had to do? So I started listening to a high-level entrepreneur guy, and that was one of the resources. I knew I had to watch all of his videos, okay? What do I need to get started? So I wrote it out. Okay, so to get started, I need to talk to them about it. We need to get the LLC set up. We need to find the right team. So I have everything in here. And then role clarity is super important. It's like, okay, Kev, what role does he play? Okay. I go through the whole council. What role do they play as we go in here? So everybody has role clarity as we move into the business, right? Chris, who's our marketing guy. Okay, what role does he play? And then you identify the roles for everybody so everybody's clear on their roles. And then you get to work, okay? Then we create a vision, and that's what we're gonna do now. This is gonna be really, really fun. So as we go into this, there's gonna be people who are really, really creative, and I'm not a super creative person, so I just use pictures. Now, has anybody done a vision board before? Okay, so do you remember what the first activity we did was? Pointing, remember the pointing? Okay, so the reticular activating system is a very important part of your brain. So has anybody ever bought a Jeep before? Okay, anybody ever driven a Jeep before?
A Jeep?
Yeah, when you get a Jeep, do you not start seeing Jeeps everywhere? You get a Harley, what happens? You start seeing Harleys everywhere. You get a red Toyota truck, you see them everywhere. Well, there's science to that. And in simplistic terms, that's what a vision board is. As you can see, we have on the wall up here, we have all our team members' vision boards. A vision board is working on your reticular activating system, because what you see is often what triggers what you think is what you feel is what you attract. It's really that simple. It's just a cycle that keeps on going. But what happens is the average human being, what they do is they wake up in the morning, wake up at the exact same time in the morning, you get up on the exact same time in the bed, you actually hit the alarm exactly the same amount of times, you grab your same I'm the best mom or dad coffee cup, and you get in the car at the exact same time, you say the same negative thing to yourself, I don't want to go to work, you hit the same light, you have the same thought, and we're in this vicious cycle over and over. And you get to the water cooler, you talk to the same person, but you complain about their spouse, they go over here, and it's just, we just do this thing over and over and over again. Well, your vision board, as you go into where you want it somewhere where you're going to see it on a daily basis, your vision board pulls you into a new paradigm. It's like, oh, that's where I'm going. And even if you just see it every once in a while, your reticular activating system picks that up. That's the power of a vision board. It's not some esoteric magic thing where you say, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire. You stare at it and then you just sit there. You have to take action, right? But what that does is it allows your mind to actually see what is possible. And through that thought, it should help you create different emotions or different feelings, right? Which creates different emotions, which creates a vibration, and you start to attract the things back to you. Now, about vision boards is where a lot of people get frustrated. I have all my vision boards. So I pulled out vision boards from years ago, and I'm like, that happened now. This book is on a vision board years and years and years ago, and I had a vision of speaking to people about the book, and it's on it. And it didn't happen a year later, it didn't happen 2 years later, it didn't happen 3 years later, it happened 7 years later, 9 years later. We're now doing a seminar on the book, right? Houses, like you put a house on there. You may not get that specific house, but you may get one that looks like it. Right, so all you're doing in the context is helping your reticular activating system pick up the things that you want to think about on a daily basis. So that's all a vision board is. So as creative as you get, is as much as you put into it, is as much you're going to get back, as Melissa said at the beginning of this, right? So the vision board is to create an emotional connection to what you're doing. They work. They really, 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 really work. Everything on my vision board has become true. I'll give you an example. Okay, well, it's going to come true. So we have a plane on my vision board, right? What do you do, Chef?
I sell airplanes.
He sells airplanes. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, we're talking about it. He's like, oh, guess what do you do? He's like, I sell airplanes. I mean, like this is, he's like, oh, I got you. He looks at it, we got that, no big deal. I'm like, it's just, it works. It just shows up. Not when you're not expecting it, right? So the vision board is creation, it's fun, it should be exciting. And if you're not a creative person, that's okay. You can just put, his says uncanny, right? That's what it is. That's
one word.
One word. That's his vision, right? And don't, like I think a lot of people, when we did our vision board together, people were like looking, oh, yours is really creative, yours is, it's yours, it's your vision. It's what you want for your life. So please have fun with this. You know, be like the children, as Jesus says. That's
what's crazy is I was telling him a plane is on my 5-year plan.
Oh, what?
A plane is on my 5-year plan.
And now
see, there you go.
No?
There you go.
The guy over here.
Yes, and like in this activity, be like children. Like, relax, have some fun with it. You know, enjoy yourself. Have color. Really, really feel it. And what you want to do is after you create your vision board, you're going to fold them up and take them with you. Put it somewhere where you can see it. Right? Make sure you can see that vision board. So. What questions do you have? You want to jump in?
Yeah, I was just going to say too, remember we were talking about the Joe Dispenza, the heart and mind connection. It's the first one, the first vision board that I made when I went through this program for the first time, and I forced myself through it because I don't like reading, I don't like taking notes, all of that stuff, so it was very much a growth process for me. But what I decided to do, and you don't have to like physically draw it, but I knew that I had a little bit of skill in drawing, so I decided to picture it in my mind and then adopt the feeling of, okay, this is gonna happen, and then I would draw it. Now, if you're doing it with the magazines, I would see whatever word or whatever picture it is, picture it in your mind, and then put it on the board. And then that way you'll get more of that connection to it as opposed to it just being copy and paste. Like, okay, I'm just doing this. Because this conference is on my first board.
Yeah.
It literally is on my first board. This exact conference is on my first board. And here you all are.
To be more specific, what we're doing tomorrow with you guys that you don't know about yet is very specific what we're about to go through tomorrow. It's actually kind of creepy. So after we do that, do you have it here?
I think it's up there.
Yeah, after we do that, we'll show you his vision board, which is really, it's unbelievably accurate what you're about to go through tomorrow afternoon, which is really, it's not interesting anymore. It's just what it is, right? And don't get frustrated too if your vision doesn't come to life in your timeline. It's actually not on your timeline. And you never want to get what you don't deserve. Let me repeat that. You do not want to get what you don't deserve yet. We weren't ready for the business to be where it's at a year ago. I wasn't mentally ready. I wasn't spiritually ready. 3 years ago, I wasn't ready for it. I had to go through all those trials and tribulations. I had to be told that this program wouldn't work. I had to be told that I wasn't good enough. I had to be told that I was a fake. I had to be told that nobody was going to listen to my videos. I had to be told all that stuff because I had to go through that process to build my skin thick enough to be, I deal with a lot of haters every single day. If you watch my TikTok, I deal with them all day, but I would, emotionally, a year and a half ago, it would have destroyed me. It would have destroyed me. I would have been a wreck. I would have gone right back into my old patterns. So you don't want to get what you don't deserve. Please understand that, right? So like relationship-wise, right? Don't force a relationship into your life, right? I'm big on getting off dating sites. Like I'm really big on that. It's like just become and attract. Just become and attract. It's really, really important. You don't want to force something like that because that's something you want to attract back to, okay? Because you don't want to get what you don't deserve within that present moment. So, you guys excited to do vision boards? Awesome.
Can I say
yes,
something?
please.
I just have
Yep.
one comment.
Yep.
Because I was going to bring this up yesterday, but I think this is even a better time. So when JV was saying that there's all the haters on the TikTok and things like that, and how he wouldn't have been able to handle it years ago, I remember the very first complaint that we had about our academy was this, so the way the academy used to work is you had, or not the academy, but the fitness center. So you used to like sign up for a 6-week class, and you would front load the money for the class, and if you actually got through the challenge, then we would refund that money, or you could put it towards a year of your, or towards your membership for a year, or whatever the case is. And so there was this woman who came in, and during the time John was doing all of the training, and John's very like, excited and motivational, and like motivational speaking throughout the whole session and all of that stuff. And so, and every night he would stay and he would clean the whole gym. And so it was a Facebook review or a Yelp review or something along those lines. And I forgot the first part, how she worded it. And she was just like, I don't care about some guy just yelling about me about all of my problems or like telling me all the things that I need to do right. And their gym was so dirty. And he got stuck on the dirty part and couldn't let it go. And the gym wasn't dirty. It wasn't dirty. Like it was not dirty. It was like brand new. Like, so it's not like it wasn't what it was. But like now if someone said that, whatever. Like it's really, there has been a significant change in all of our lives over the last 4 or 5 years in how we were and how we acted and all of that stuff, but I just want to bring it up.
That's a perfect example of like exactly what I'm talking about. Like that lady, she was rolling her eyes while I was training everybody. I'm like, she's gonna complain, man. And I manifested it. And the thing that she said is, I'm like, the gyms. I didn't care that she called me the worst thing ever, but the gym, it's clean, man. It's like, but that's a great point. Like, I wasn't ready for it. I personally wasn't ready for it. Spiritually ready for it. And as I grow into the next level, it's like I'm willing to wait for what's next. I'm really willing to wait for what's next. I've experienced getting what I don't deserve. And another thing that I came up with is if you're not where you're supposed to be, you're going to do something you're not supposed to do, and you're going to lose something you're supposed to have. So remember, if you're not where you're supposed to be, if you force yourself into something, you're going to do something you're not supposed to do, and you're going to end up losing something you're supposed to have. So that's really, 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 really important. So if you're in a situation or in a conversation or in something that not where you're supposed to be, you're going to end up losing something you're supposed to have. So it's about stepping back and saying, okay, am I ready for that? Is this right? Listen to your gut. That's why we're all about the nutrition. Listen to your gut. Your gut will communicate with your brain. You get that gut feeling. You know something's not right. It's not right. Right, so let's jump into vision board. So can we get some direction? How do you guys want to run the vision board part of it?
Laura.
Like picking up supplies and stuff, Laura?
They should probably come through this way.
Okay.
And then maybe table at a time?
Okay, yeah, we'll do table at a time going from left to right. So grab your supplies. Does anybody, we got magazines up there too.
Yeah.
So we got magazines up there that kind of spark some, what's that?
Stickers, we have little signs, and if they need like visual example too of some of ours, they could always
Yep, yeah. And if anybody, like, if you're like, I need a specific picture, I can print stuff out on the computer, like things like that. We just want to make sure you have a good experience with this, because we send out, if you brought pictures with you, fine. If not, we figure some people might not. So we have magazines. If you're like, hey, JB or May or Laura, any of us, Jeremy, we can print out.
Yeah, please let us know, and we'll get Tom or Dustin to print them.
All right, so let's go table in the back. We'll have you guys go first. Good. So Jackie. George.
You guys need help.
Jackie, George. Let's go. Michael. Jackie, George, Michael.
George, get on. We probably have one other table start with them because there's 3 at that table.
Mario, you want to lead them? We'll go this table over here next. Cool. Good. That's it. Right. Vision.
I know you got some red flags.
Can you read? It's the bottom one.
You guys go next whenever you're ready.
Roger, were you able to go get your stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it wasn't there. It was in the truck.
Oh, okay. So it even worked out better.
But that was the one that I liked.
Yeah, if anybody needs me to print out pictures, please let me know.
Set up and everything.
Yes.